Hey, it's Molly. Welcome back to my channel as we're going to discuss the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus, which will be exact April 20th, 2024. We're going to look at a chart for 9:36 p.m. That's Eastern Time. So here we have Jupiter and Uranus together at 21 degrees of Taurus, 49 minutes, so nearly 22 degrees of Taurus. This is the degree point in your chart that you want to identify. You want to find where you have 21, 22 Taurus by house placement. And the house placement is where this new synodic cycle is beginning. A synodic cycle is what we call it when the outer planets, Jupiter and Uranus, are on the same page and begin a new journey together, very similar to a new moon. Only in this case, it is a bigger ripple effect. It has more impact and influence when we talk about the outer planets, and it's also rare. We haven't had a conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus for nearly 13 to 14 years. The last time it occurred was in 2010 at 0 degrees of Aries, and then again in 2011 due to the retrograde cycle where they met up at late degrees of Pisces. This is the first time we are seeing them together in Taurus since 1941. Yes, World War II and all of the turbulence and disruption that was unfolding back in the early 1940s. Now they are beginning a new journey together here, and it is disruptive. That is part of the energy signature, and it shows us what we are ready to change, what is ready for a new version. Something can collapse so that something new can emerge. This is chaos and liberation. This is something shocking that comes through and unfolds. Now, the energy has been increasing as Jupiter has moved closer to Uranus, and we've already seen this through changes in the earth, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, wherever there has been instability and discord. This can be related here to the energy of this conjunction. But when they are exactly conjunct is when the energy is the strongest and when the new cycle really begins. So in your chart, when you identify which house this is happening in for you, is where a shocking development can arrive. Something can bust through or open up. This could be something welcomed. Now keep in mind that Jupiter, the biggest planet in our solar system, is associated with support, invitation, opportunities, resources, with something beneficial and positive that can help with the changes that Uranus has already been activating. And so Jupiter comes in and makes it bigger, exaggerates the Uranian influence, opens it up more to amplify it. And so this could be where something is made very clear to you around where you're ready for change. Uranus is the great awakener. Uranus is where we can't take it one more minute. You're just done. Like you could just feel like you've reached your limit, you've reached the end of something, and you're just ready for the next version. You're just ready for some kind of change. Now, this can be severe change. This can be something that also shows you how change can be quite messy and chaotic. But collectively, this is also signaling a change in our cultural values. It is revolutionary energy. It is cracking open something that we see and we can't deny, especially in Taurus, which is an earth sign associated with our comfort zone, our five senses, our daily stability, where we go to calm ourselves and to find peace, where we want to take care of our nervous systems. We just want to rest and have a good meal and enjoy a good movie. Well, here come these two to throw all that up in the air, and something is awakening you to perhaps a new way of living your life, a new lifestyle, something that is better for you, that represents freedom or liberation if you've been struggling against something, especially because Taurus being a fixed sign is about what we have accepted as commonplace and status quo. And now these two are saying, let's throw all that out. We're going to toss out the baby and the bathwater. And you could feel like this has been in the works because Uranus was already at 21 degrees of Taurus in 2023. So you could be feeling something anticipatory. You're already sensing it. You're already aware of it. In fact, you've been thinking about it, sitting with it. And now there's something that comes through that's quite evident that the change is happening now, and it can be quite fast. Because Uranus is not only the awakener, it's a lightning strike. It's just that sudden blast of knowledge. It's the desire to do something quickly and suddenly. And it often brings up taking a risk, going into a place, going into something that you're ready for. And that can be figuratively or literally, perhaps just metaphorically, something that you're busting open because it's actually showing you more of your creation energy, of what you want to experience, that only happens once in our lifetime. And so this can bring about things suddenly collapsing if they have been hanging on by a thread. This can bring sudden openings and accelerated movements and quick developments. You know, with Uranus, we don't know how it's going to unfold or what's going to show up. It is very much connected to cosmic wisdom, universal intelligence. It is the higher octave of Mercury. Mercury being the human mind. Uranus is cosmic mind, where things don't have to be linear. They can just suddenly develop, suddenly occur. And that's how Uranus operates. And with the amplification of Jupiter, this is where things could feel like I'm ready. And that there's something here that you've been trusting, you've been patient, observing. And this comes through and it can disrupt your peace, disrupt that. But I feel that there's something we've been learning to stabilize inside ourselves amongst all of the changes and uncertainty unfolding in the world. So you could feel that you're ready for change. And this does have the energy signature of an eclipse. And this is occurring April 20th after our previous two eclipse cycles, or two eclipse instances after the eclipse cycle. And this is still stirring stuff up. It's still requiring deeper change within us. Now, the energies here relate directly to the planets over here in Aries. And that's because they're both in Taurus, right? And Taurus is ruled by Venus. And Venus is sitting here at 19 degrees of Aries, which is the eclipse point for the April 8th Aries solar eclipse. Venus is conjunct Chiron and was previously conjunct Mercury retrograde and the North Node. So we have a lineup here of planets in Aries activating that eclipse, showing you where you're ready to move towards a new start, a new beginning, something that helps with self-improvement and your potential, which is what the North Node is opening up. But this Venus conjunct Chiron can bring up some kind of insecurity, vulnerability, or fear. I know we've been talking about Chiron a lot in the past few months. Ever since Chiron had the exact conjunction with the North Node, Chiron has still been a big player. And that's because there's things we are understanding about what we've been holding, that we are healing and moving through, where the wounded warrior is tired and wants to soften, and where we just could feel a little bit of uncertainty around the new beginnings that we want. Venus is what you want to go for, what you want to do on your own, what you want to create and experience. And the conjunction to Chiron brings up What if it doesn't work? What if I'm not good at it? What if it doesn't happen? What if? And this can be related to Venus, related to fears of rejection, abandonment, previous experiences that have affected self-worth, affected your heart, affected relationships or connections with women. So this is bringing up more that we're working through. And as this energy comes through, it shakes up, well, what do I value now? But I have to look at what I've been through. I have to look at what I've already been healing and understand how it's like being very honest with yourself, which is a signature of Aries. It's very direct. It's very direct and say, okay, but I'm afraid of this, or I don't know if I can handle that. So this Aries energy is where we are gaining strength in the new parts of ourselves that are slowly emerging. Slowly emerging. And then we also have, as you'll see, this stellium in Pisces with Neptune, Mars, and Saturn. Mars is just passing the midpoint between Saturn and Neptune and is in a very quiet part of the zodiac here. Reflective, contemplative, giving up what he's known to prepare for the new start that happens in 10 days when he enters Aries to begin a whole new cycle. But this Mars is understanding that maybe he hasn't been fully integrating all of his spiritual self, his intuition, his emotions, and he's moving in between Saturn and Neptune that wants him to make sure he has it. So I feel like we are learning to embody and integrate more of our spiritual wisdom into our new sense of self, and that this, in fact, is part of the changes. Part of the changes we're moving through and what we are feeling that's shaking us up. And you'll notice too that both Uranus and Jupiter are working favorably through a sextile with Mars, with Saturn, and I'm even going to call in Neptune here. And that's because these planets in Pisces are pushing forward something in your spiritual energy field that is important to claim in the Taurus values. This is very creative energy. When you look at Taurus and Pisces together, this could be showing you the new dreams that you want to make a reality. The parts of yourself you've been working through, closing out, the karma you've been ending, the spiritual lessons you've been understanding, where you've been taking responsibility for all areas of your life. And now it wants to move forward into a new version of something that you haven't experienced before. And because this energy is in Taurus and it's about the physical world, this can certainly show up as changes you want to make in the environment around you, in things that you own, your possessions, what you accumulate, your investments, your financial priorities. This is where you're looking at, what do I need? What do I not need? And what do I have too much of? So you could realize that maybe there's an excess of something, and that's what you want to shake off. Taurus likes things simple, matter of fact, basic. Don't make it complicated or messy. Let's keep it clear. And when you are listening to your intuition, downloads, channeling, spiritual messages, all that good stuff, it can make it quite evident what you want to change. And then, you bring in the Aries stuff, which can bring up, well, how do I do that? And how does this fit into who I am now? So there is a lot coming up and coming through, especially in the Pisces, Aries, and Taurus sections of your chart. There's a lot of energy being required here. Focus, concentration. It could feel like these parts of your chart are taking up a lot of your time and energy at this time. Now, this conjunction is going to continue to unfold because it's the first conjunction since 2011, and it doesn't happen again until 2037, and it will occur in 23 degrees of Cancer. And so whenever a planet moves across this point in your chart, it's going to check in on the activation. So here we have the Sun in Taurus that will reach this point in 20 days after the conjunction. And then eventually we're going to have the personal planets, Venus, Mercury, and Mars. I'll move across this point as well in the next few months. And they're each going to bring in something to consider, something to value, something to offer into this next cycle. So one thing to do with this conjunction is to create some kind of manifestation list, how you want to change your life, what you want to create next, perhaps something that you don't know how it's going to come about, but you believe in your power to manifest it. This is a great time for a vision board, for writing out a list of things that matter to you now, just to really ground it and make it clear that these are the changes you want. These are the changes that matter to you. And so this is a powerful time to make it clear to the universe, like, this is what I'm ready for in my life, the next level, the deep changes. And again, even if you don't know how, that's part of manifesting, is you release the how, and you know that the universe can create anything, especially with the chaotic power of Uranus, where it can bring together the most oddball opportunities or solutions that get you to where you want to go that you would never have thought of on your own. So do that as a way to ground the energy and be very clear around what you want to open up for you during this conjunction. And then there's something else I wanted to share with you, more of an archetypal story based on the planets in our solar system. And so here we have the outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Chiron, the asteroid, and Uranus in the order in our solar system, right? Okay, so what we've been experiencing is this Jupiter really getting bigger in what you know you're worthy of, that really amplifies more of what you love, what you enjoy, what brings you pleasure, what brings you peace, what you want in order to make the most of your earthly experience. Now, in the order here of our solar system, Jupiter is expansion, wisdom, learning, growth. It shows us where we just say yes, right? Where things are easy, there's more to enjoy, there's more. Then next in our solar system is Saturn, the ringed planet of boundaries, limitations, commitments, and no. And so Saturn is where you need to cut back on something, right? You need to do less, focus in, get clear, make progress, get the work done. So there's this very wonderfully beautiful dynamic between the expansive quality of Jupiter and the more restricted expression of Saturn. And Saturn directly relates to our 3D physical reality, our 3D lives, what we have to take care of, what is really important. Then after Saturn, we come into contact with this Chiron, and Chiron can show us where the real world has wounded us. Chiron can show us where we have taken some hard knocks and we are understanding more of what we're capable of, but there's things we have to heal from Saturn, things we have to understand and see in a new light, to take an alternative path. Usually Saturn is the typical traditional means to get somewhere. Chiron is where you go off sideways to follow something, to try it out, to basically remove yourself from the mainstream. And Chiron is actually then the gateway, or as Barbara Hand-Clough calls it, the rainbow bridge that leads us to the spiritual wisdom and breakthroughs of Uranus, where Uranus wants to dismantle Saturn, wants you to shake off the wounds and the heaviness, the fears, the things that you thought you weren't good at or you thought you didn't fit in. It's where you could be holding something, and Uranus wants you to move away from that and to enter into more of your galactic signature, more of your cosmic coding that shows you that you can shake all this off and continue into more of your authentic self that doesn't have to be within the bounds of Saturn, doesn't have to be part of the Chiron journey. So here's Uranus wanting you to be free of something. And the visual I was getting is that as Jupiter has been moving towards Uranus in Taurus, it's almost like this Jupiter has been applying some type of pressure or squeezing us into more of our liberated truth beyond the healing path, beyond the 9 to 5 things we have to carry and burdens we have to take care of. I feel like Jupiter is readily directing us to Uranus to say, remember who you are beyond this lifetime, beyond this journey, and allow Uranus to activate more within your, I'm seeing it as the DNA coding that shows you how cosmic you are. And by doing that, all of this gets smaller. The wounded self is still heard, is still loved and seen, and the mature parts of ourselves that can handle life is still acknowledged. But I feel like it's a Jupiter-Uranus sandwich around go this way, go to Uranus, go to the parts of you that came here to do things differently in this lifetime. And maybe that is an undercurrent you've been feeling. Maybe that's something you've been feeling a push towards. Maybe that's a risk you've been afraid to take. And there's something about this Uranus that sets us free from the previous messages of the other planets in the solar system. And this Jupiter wants us to listen to Uranus. And because of that, you could be receiving some strong messages right now from your natal Uranus. And your natal Uranus can be anywhere in your chart. Your natal Uranus could be in Leo, in Capricorn, in Scorpio, in Libra. And that's what's shaking here. That's what's shaking and quaking, is that this conjunction wants you to bring into this reality more of who you really are, more of your authentic self that you're perhaps feeling and sensing for the first time. And it's an expansive understanding of what you can create. So look at your natal Uranus. Again, it can be in any sign, it can be in any house. But that natal Uranus is giving you a message right now about how you came here to do something on your own terms, in your own way, perhaps showing you more of who you really are. And that could also be what you're feeling during this conjunction between Jupiter and Taurus. Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. And as I mentioned, we've been talking about Chiron for a while, and you could just feel like I'm just ready to turn the page on something I've been healing. I'm ready to move into a new story. I'm shaking this off. I'm done with this. And Uranus would be cheering you on and ready for the new start, the next level beginning, and whatever you are feeling moving through you. Because this is very much a frequency. Uranus is very much about a frequency that we can't always put into words. Almost like it's too much for the linear mind, the human mind. But you just feel it, you just sense it, like I've got to do this, or I've got to try this, or I've got to create this. It's that kind of uprising. So this is the energy of an uprising. We could possibly see even more of that in the collective, of course. And this is also paying attention to what is rising up within you based on what you've already been sensing, especially since last year, 2023, when Uranus was previously at 21 degrees of Taurus. Now, this conjunction is a big deal. It is one of the biggest astrological energy influences of the year, and it's going to unfold over the course of a number of years. I do have a podcast for you on Monday discussing it more, including how this energy is trining where we had the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in January 2020. That happened at 22 degrees of Capricorn. So this energy is taking you forward into what you've learned over the past 4 years that you're ready to claim and make your own, what you want to build, where you're ready to build. This energy also relates to the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction that happened in April 2022 at 23-24 degrees of Pisces, and it's helping you to move a dream forward, look at how it can come to life, manifest, and show up in the physical world. So I feel like this energy is part of a continuation of big conjunctions that we've already been living through. And it's almost like something could just make sense right now. Like it just makes sense. You've been working through it, maybe healing through it, looking at it through a new lens, changing the energy around. And now there's something that is ready to come together and be built. So thank you for joining me for this video. I hope it's given you some insights into what you are moving through and what's opening up for you, especially if you have planets or points at 21-22 degrees of Taurus, at 21 to 22 degrees of the Earth signs, which are Virgo and Capricorn, or 21-22 degrees of the fixed signs being Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. If you have planets or points near these degrees, it's more personal for you. You're going to feel it. You're going to sense it. You're going to be living it more. Whereas if you do not have planets or points around those degree points, then you're still going to feel it and see it in the collective, but it isn't going to make as much of an impact in your world. So thank you for joining me. I'll be back with another video for you soon. And I hope this has given you a good heads up on how to be in your power and your mastery during this new creation phase.